Ukrainian President and the UN nuclear agency head are sounding the alarm about increased safety risks at the Russia-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine, which lost its external power supply more than a week ago as the war raged around it. According to Associated Press, emergency diesel generators are providing power for crucial cooling systems for the facility's 6 shutdown reactors and spent fuel, and there is no immediate danger to Europe's biggest nuclear plant, according to International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi. But it is clearly not a sustainable situation in terms of nuclear safety, he said. The backup generators have never needed to run for so long, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. The generators and the plant were not designed for this, Zelensky said late Tuesday, describing the situation as critical. Zaporizhzhia is one of the 10 biggest nuclear plants in the world, and its fate amid the fighting has caused fears of a potential nuclear catastrophe. Russian forces seized it days after the full-scale invasion of neighboring Ukraine began on February 24, 2022. The tension around the nuclear plant's safety has added to broader concerns about the course of the war, which shows no signs of ending after a US-led effort this year to stop the fighting came to nothing. European leaders, spooked by violations of their airspace by unidentified drones and Russian warplanes, gathered Wednesday in Denmark for 2 summits centered on security, defense, and the war in Ukraine. Zelensky blamed Russian artillery for cutting the power line to the Zaporizhzhia plant, but Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said it was Ukrainian shelling. Peskov told reporters Wednesday that it was stupid to accuse the Russian side of shelling the plant it controls. The Vienna-based IAEA has been walking a tightrope in the war, eager to maintain access to nuclear facilities and issuing warnings about the dangers without angering either side. Ukraine has 4 nuclear plants, though Zaporizhzhia is the only one in Russian hands. Grossi said that Zaporizhzhia's emergency generators were coping with the extra strain so far. The current status of the reactor units and spent fuel is stable as long as the emergency diesel generators are able to provide sufficient power to maintain essential safety-related functions and cooling, he said in a statement late Tuesday. An IAEA team at the plant reported that it has fuel reserves ensuring the generators can operate for more than 10 days, with regular off-site supplies maintaining this level. Nevertheless, it is extremely important that off-site power is restored, Grossi said, adding that he was in touch with Russian and Ukrainian officials about how to swiftly reconnect the plant to the grid.
Fears are rising over safety at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in eastern Ukraine, which has now been without external power for more than a week. The plant was seized by Russian forces just days after Moscow sent troops into Ukraine and hasn't been producing power for the grid for several years now, but it needs power to cool the 6 shutdown reactors and spent fuel at the site, and currently diesel generators are being used for this task. The plant's repeatedly been caught in the crossfire between Russian and Ukrainian forces, and this is apparently the 10th time that it's lost access to off-site power. Rafael Grossi, who's the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, has said the situation is stable at the moment, as long as the generators keep functioning. But he's stressed the importance of off-site power being restored at the facility because it's more reliable than the emergency generators.
Господин Grossi, welcome to Russia. Добро пожаловать в Россию. Рады видеть вас. Very good.
где именно показывает всю важность нашего сотрудничества.
Все, опускай!
The Ukrainian armed forces launched a Neptune cruise missile strike at the Elektrodetal plant in Karachev, Bryansk Oblast, Defense Express recalls. The General Staff reported the use of 4 missiles, and the Ukrainian Navy clarified their type. According to the main intelligence directorate, Elektrodetal supplied connectors and components used in the Russian aerospace industry, including in the Chimera FPV drone. The interesting point is the following. The 67th GRAU Arsenal, also known as the 1046th Logistics Center, is also located in Karachev, but the strike hit the plant, not the ammunition depot. Defense Express recalls that the arsenal had previously been hit by strikes. On November the 19th, 2024, it was hit by American ATACMS missiles, causing a series of secondary explosions and detonations. Judging by the aftermath, the depot was less fully stocked than other GRAU arsenals. Now, the choice of target provides strategic information. It shows that the enemy has either significantly reduced the use of this arsenal or has stopped using it altogether. Otherwise, it would have been chosen as the primary target. Experts also believe that the target on Elektrodetal used a standard ground attack modification of the Neptune, rather than the long-range variant with a 1,000-kilometer range. Karachev is located approximately 120 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, within range of standard systems. Overall, strikes against industrial suppliers of weapons components are a logical continuation of Kiev's strategy of pushing back against the Russian rear. Previously, the SBU and special services used FP-1 drones to strike other arsenals, such as the 107th in Toropets, which also demonstrates the diversity of Ukrainian weapons. Against the backdrop of these strikes, various international circles, including at the highest levels in Washington, are discussing the possibility of supplying Ukraine with Tomahawk cruise missiles and using excess US LRF launchers for them. This could significantly expand the arsenal for precision strikes against important targets within the Russian Federation. At the same time, let us recall that there are currently more substantial discussions about the possibility of strengthening Ukraine with Tomahawk cruise missiles, especially since the US has extra long-range fires launchers for them. But right now the US has conditionally redundant Tomahawk launchers. The fact is that just a month ago, the US Marine Corps decided to abandon the LRF long-range fires Tomahawk launchers. The reason for the abandonment is their poor cross-country ability on soft ground, which is critical for the Marines who were supposed to land the long-range fires on the beach.